we are going to talk about how important it is to take a break. Now, homeschooling all summer long is not a good idea. When I first started, I actually homeschooled all summer long unless we were on a vacay, and then I would take that break and then come right back. I mean, maybe even that next day that we were home, that I would start homeschooling again. And so it's really important that you take some time off during the summer and not go hardcore in the summer. It's really important that the kids get that break, because they don't want to start school the next year if you've been schooling all summer long. Now, I do think there needs to be a balance, that especially when the kids are little, I think it's really important that you maintain so that you're not going backwards. You don't want to restart teaching them how to read, how to write, how to do their math. Just do enough that it keeps them maintaining throughout the summer. But it's really important that they get these breaks and that you get these breaks, because it makes you a little bit grumpy when you can't have any break, and it shuts the children down when they get a zero break. It's also really important that you take days off throughout the school year. I work myself around the school district most of the time. I'm not to a T on everything the school district does, but I pretty much start when they start and I pretty much end when they end. It fluctuates each year depending on what we're doing as a family, but I do think that the kids get more excited when their friends are going to school, then they can be going to school here, and so we pretty much do that. Also, what can be disappointing for your children is if they have their friends have some days off from school, and you've planned school and you've put together a whole schedule, because I don't just put together my schedule, I actually put together a plan for a lesson plan on certain things. And I also teach in co-ops. So it's really important that you try to plan around where the kids can have that time off with their friends that go to public school, because it can be a little bit frustrating to you when you've made all these plans and then you get a knock on the door and your kids, then they don't pay attention because they want to be outside hanging out with their friends. So this probably won't happen if you live out in the country, which we did in our other home, but here we live in a subdivision, and it matters when you live in a subdivision. So anyways, I do just stay a little bit with the district. I think it would help you in your homeschooling. Obviously, don't do it to a T, but I work around my husband's schedule. I pretty much ask him almost every night, hey, what's your schedule look like tomorrow? Because I plan a daily schedule. I don't do a weekly schedule. So my husband's a police officer, and sometimes he needs to shed some hours. Let's say he worked extra hours because of something happened and he needs to come in a couple hours later. So but what that messes up my schedule if I don't know what he's doing, because if he wants to hang out with the kids until 9 or sleep in until 9 because we were up late, then I start school at 7. And so I have to change up my schedule, and it just messes up my day. So not only that, it's fun to have an off day from like the regular day. So if he can go in a little bit later, maybe we'll go and take a bike ride with him and do something fun, and then he'll go to work and we'll start the rest of our day. So it's good to coordinate that with your husband to make sure that you're on the same page. Also, it's really important that you take 3 or 4 times throughout the school year scheduled 2 days off in a row, because that gives you time to be able to do a project in your home that you just most desperately need. Now, if you schedule your clipboards that we talked about in another lesson, if you schedule that and say, oh, well, I'm going to take the day off, but I'm going to have my kids do school and I'll have them do a clipboard. And obviously this is more with younger children that are needing your help, when your children get a little bit older, then they could go and do an online class that they're doing. So, but with your younger children, if you say, I'm going to give you a clipboard, you guys go do that, guess what? You're schooling all day, because your children always need your help. And so it's so nice that you can say, go ahead and go play. And when my older boys were young, they loved Legos, and they loved action figures, and they loved stuffed animals, and they would incorporate all of those things together, and they could play for hours and hours. And so giving them time to play so you could actually get something done that's really been bothering you to get done. But I would recommend 2 or 3 of those 2-days off that you can do that would rejuvenate you. It makes you happy. You're a better mom, and you're not grumpy. And it also, I would do half days, some half days, so you can actually clean your house. When your kids are home all of the time, then when my kids went to school, I would clean and then play with my babies, and I would have time to do some of these other projects. But when you bring your kids home, you don't have that time anymore. And so you don't have time to clean your house, because when my babies went down for a nap, that was time to school my kids, my older kids, one-on-ones, and that was their time. And so the dishes happened after, later in the evening, and those type of things. So sometimes it's nice to maybe take that half day. You could either send your kids with the clipboard and they can do some of their work, or I have done it where we clean for half of the day, and everybody helps, which obviously makes things go by so much faster. Now, I wanted to say how important this job is, that we are taking care of our children. It's the most rewarding thing I've ever done, but it's also, I think it's harder than going to work. I have done both. I was in the workforce for 11 years. Then it is stay home and take care of your kids, and then add homeschooling on top of that. I think it's harder than our husbands going to work and being at work with adults all day long. Okay, and I'm not making light of our husbands going to work, because I know that that's hard, but this is a different kind of hard, and it's harder. It's just a different, I exempt teachers in that, because I think teachers have a really hard job schooling our children at school. So also, I did want to say that right about in February, I actually start to shut down, and I'm tired. I don't really want to do schooling anymore. February, March time is when I'm like, oh my gosh. And so that's when also it's really important to maybe take a break here or there. And you can see even in the public schools where that's where they have their activity days, they have field trips and those type of things that come in, and you get tired about that time. So anyways, good luck with your homeschooling. Good luck with being a mom, and we will see you in the next video.